You're strong.
I forgot.
Okay? Although disruptive might definitely fall in line. Now, because you're weak and disruptive, you require protection. This is a generalization, but it's something that is a reality in your life. And in fact, you recall that patriarchy got started during the agricultural revolution. It was a new thing during the agricultural revolution. When we left these Paleolithic societies behind, men and women had much more equality in terms of gender roles. But in fact, the restrictions became even more so once we entered into the classical era. Even more so than when we enter into the classical era. As we start to develop different social classes, the women within those different social classes lead different lives. Okay? Now, in general, upper class women are going to be more restricted than lower class women. And if we think about this for a second, why would that be? If you're an upper class woman, you have money, or excuse me, your husband has money and power, why would you lead a more restricted life than, say, a lower class person who does not have money and power? Yes, as a lady, what would you say, Louis?
They don't want me to get into power.
Okay, maybe they don't want you to get into power as a lady, possibly, but that doesn't explain why there's a difference between upper class and lower class. Why would you have more freedom as a lower class person if they didn't want you to get into power?
Because as a lower class person, you really can't get into power. You're in the lower class.
Okay, that's a good point. So if you're upper class, you have money, then you're going to be more restricted. A good point, possibly. What do you think, Chris?
There's more available to them.
There's more available to them, okay. If I don't need to fend for my life every single day and try and put food on the table, do I have to go out into the world and try and make my way? No, okay. Upper class people have advantages. They're affluent, and they do not need to venture into the world to get what they need, especially if your husband's doing all the work. They're the breadwinner, if you will. Lower class women don't have that advantage in the classical era. Lower class women have to go out there. They have to work. They have to go to the market. They have to work in the field. They have a lot more freedom. But they have this freedom because they need to have it, not because they want to have it, all right? They need to be able to do this. Of course, here is our wonderful Disney princess, Mulan. There's all kinds of commentary right here. What's this saying right here? This is when they're training to go into war. Yes, Robin?
It was like women can be participating in the military because before women couldn't.
Well, what's the premise here? Look
She's
at her
dressing up
hair.
a guy.
What is Mulan doing in this scene?
Dressing up as a guy.
She's dressing up as a guy. Okay, why does she have to dress up as a guy? Paris?
Because women aren't allowed to fight in the war.
Okay, one thing that women in ancient China were not allowed to do is serve in the military, okay? And Mulan had to totally change her appearance to do these sorts of things, okay? Just talking about restrictions on women in the classical era. Now, of course, Disney likes to get these things kind of right, so they made a whole story about this. And this leads us into what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about patriarchy in China during the classical era. Now, there are a few things that, whether you've realized it or not at this point, you've already kind of gone over in your head. Now, yin and yang. What religion is that? Everybody.
Taoism.
Try that again.
Taoism.
Yeah, yin and yang, Taoism, okay? These universal constants. We talked about Taoism. It had become a major part of China during the Qin and Han dynasties. It is this idea that there is a permanence to the world. Remember, Taoism relates closely to what? Well, that's pretty broad. What is the Tao? The way of nature. So it relates to nature. So it's implying that nature sets these sorts of things. And when we look at the yin and yang symbol, they are opposites. They are gendered and they are unequal. And this is how it is in nature. The yang, which is the masculine component, represents the heavens. It represents masculinity, rulers, strength. Solid. I put heaven in there twice just in case you didn't get it. Rationality. Yes, Robert.
So this would be the superiors?
This would be the superior relationship. This is what is celebrated as the yang. The yin in classical China celebrates femininity. Okay, this gender role. Earth, subjects, weakness, emotion, darkness. All of these things that we would associate with being superior or inferior. Would you associate the earth and subjects and weakness with being superior or inferior? Yes, Mr. Gabrielle.
Inferior.
Inferior, exactly. What do you walk on? The earth. It is beneath me, alright? You're my subjects, you are weak, I am strong. This yin and yang is put into the ideology of ancient China. This is just one example, alright? What about Confucianism? Confucianism is the same way. Alright, we talked about filial piety and this patriarchal set of relationships in which who is the dominant person in China? Who's the dominant person? Chris? Well, the emperor, yes. But then, of course, the most important relationship in China is what? Cynthia? Father-son. Alright, now in Confucianism, Confucian texts tend to validate a few different gender roles. In general, it tends to be men out, women in. And what this is speaking about is that men tend to exist in the public and political roles. Women tend to exist in the domestic and private spheres. Women in ancient China do not leave their homes unless they have to. They do not leave their homes unless they have to. Lisa, imagine, well, excuse me, you're a female, you're a male today, so we'll go, David, as a female, imagine not being able to leave your home. Your life, that rocks, right? Helena, you get to leave home all the time. Solid, right? Okay. Yes, Chris.
What do you mean have to?
Have to stay at home?
No, like you can only leave your home when you have to.
Oh, so this would be like those lower classes I was talking about. So maybe David was a peasant, and as a peasant female, he needs to go out, she needs to go out there, and she needs to make some food, some agricultural, production for the family. That's one example. Confucian texts also reference something known as the three obediences. It talks about this filial piety. Three obediences are talking about the role of women. If you are obedient to somebody, what does that mean? What does it mean if you're obedient to somebody? George.
You do what they say.
You do what they say, right? You do what they say. Now, in China, women, you have three obediences. You need to listen to three people. First, you need to listen to your father. You need to listen to your husband, and then you need to listen to your son. How about that? Yeah, that's way messed up. Well, we would say that's messed up today. But back then, this is totally normal. Totally normal. Yes, right.
So it's a son-woman relationship?
It is a male-female relationship.
So the woman can have to listen to the son?
If she does not have a father and she is a widow, her son becomes the one who is responsible for her.
That's messed up.
Alright, so where are my men at? There they are. Guys, you take care of your parents in their old age. You take care of your moms in their old age. Yes?
What happens if we don't follow the three obediences?
Well, if you're not following the three obediences, then you're not being a good Confucian. I don't think it would be respected. You might be shunned. Maybe others in the society would not do business with you. There are probably a number of ways that you would have repercussions. Now, I put this here. Your book actually mentions something kind of interesting about what happens when girls are born in China during this time period. Did anybody pick up on that? Ivy?
Well, they're abandoned because
No, they're not abandoned.
I was abandoned.
Okay, not necessary. Chris?
Was they like put under a bed and given a broken piece of pottery?
Yeah, they're put under a bed and given a broken piece of pottery. They're born, they're infants, and they're put under a bed. What does that symbolize?
Industrialization.
Well, the pottery's supposed to represent industrialization, yes.
They aren't as higher up as men.
Yeah, they're being put under a bed. I mean, if you welcome a new child into the world, how many are like, put that thing under the bed? Think about that. That's something that they did in ancient China. So, Salvador, when you were born, you were thrown